We're now going to take a look at some special products. So these are things that you could actually FOIL, and I'm actually going to show you that. But you may start recognizing patterns, and I definitely encourage you to use those patterns because it's going to just speed up things for you. So for example, u plus v and u minus v. If you want to multiply these two things together, you're just going to FOIL it out, and you get u squared minus uv plus uv minus v squared. That's just from the FOIL. Now, negative uv, positive uv, those are going to cancel, and so you will end up with u squared minus v squared. So you can always FOIL these out, but just know that anytime you have the exact same thing, one's a plus, one's a minus, those middle terms are going to cancel out. So if you want a shortcut straight to the end, you can do that. Now, u plus v squared, what that means to do is take u plus v times u plus v. Those are hard to write. We're going to FOIL this out. So we get u squared plus uv plus uv plus v squared. We have like terms there in the middle, so we get u squared plus 2uv plus v squared. So again, if you want to kind of skip the FOIL step and use that shortcut that you know it's going to be u squared and v squared at the end, and then twice u times v, that would work. On the minus one, u minus v, again, we FOIL this out, we get u squared minus uv plus v squared. And when you combine your like terms, u squared minus 2uv plus v squared. So notice on the second and the third one, they're identical except for that plus and minus, that very first sign. Okay, now u plus v cubed. What this means to do is we want to take u plus v times u plus v times u plus v. This is one that it might be helpful to have a shortcut. Now you definitely can do all of this. Oh, that was supposed to be u. Okay, and let's say you decide to multiply these two together first. You get u plus v, and then we already did this. This was number 2. This is u squared plus 2uv plus v squared. And then you FOIL that all out, and you get u cubed plus 2u squared v plus uv squared plus, so that was the first FOIL here, and now I'm on the second one. So plus u squared v plus 2uv squared plus v cubed. And let's see, can we find like terms? Here's like terms, and here's like terms. So we end up with u cubed plus 3 u squared v plus 3 uv squared plus v cubed. Okay. So we can actually use this. We can go straight to a shortcut on the second one. So rather than FOILing this all out, we'll go straight to a shortcut. It's going to be this first thing cubed, and then we're going to have 3, now this thing squared, u squared v, and then a 3, this thing to the first power, uv squared, and v cubed. So the only thing we have to decide is where the negative sign go, and they just alternate. So we go minus, plus, minus on those. So like I said, you can always FOIL these all out, or you can use these shortcuts. It's totally up to you. There's more information on these in your textbook, so if you didn't like my explanation or you don't like my notes, you can check out the textbook, what it says about that. So we're going to do a couple examples with this. So number 5, we want to find the product of 3x minus 2 and 3x plus 2. You can always just FOIL these out. Okay, so here and here. So we end up with 9x squared plus 6x minus 6x minus 4. But you already knew, since it was 3x minus 2 and 3x plus 2, the same thing, just different signs, you already knew that these middle things were going to cancel out. And they certainly do, so we get 9x squared minus 4. Okay. On number 6, Again, you can FOIL it out. I'm going to show you this way with the shortcut first, and then I'll FOIL it. So with the shortcut, I know it's going to be the first thing squared and the last thing squared. And then my middle term is going to be 2 times the 10 times the x. And since it's plus, they're all plus signs. So this is going to be x squared plus 20x plus 100. And again, if you don't like those shortcuts and you just want to FOIL, x plus 10, go right ahead. You get x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 100, which is the exact same thing we got over there. So either way is totally fine. Okay, on this last one, I kind of recommend using the shortcut because this is a big pain otherwise. So here we go. On the numbers up there, remember we have this first thing cubed. So we're going to take this cubed. Okay? And then on the next one, we get a 3, and we have the first thing squared times the second thing, which is a -1. And then for our third term, we have 3, this first thing to the first power, and the second term squared. And then our last term, we don't get the 4x anymore, we get our last term to the third. Okay, so you notice on the first term, the 4x, we start here with 4x to the third, 4x squared, 4x to the first power, and then down here it's 4x to the 0 power, which we don't need to write. Okay, and then for the second term, for this guy, we go the other direction. We start with -1 to the third here, -1 squared, -1 to the first, and -1 to the 0. Okay, so that's how that works. So the first term starts from the left, going down in powers. The second one starts from the right, going down in powers. Then the only other thing you have to remember is these numbers. Okay, those are the coefficients, and that comes from that shortcut up there. Okay, so now we need to clean this up. And the signs are just going to fall into place with this, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So we get 4 to the third, that's 64, and then x cubed. Here we have 4 squared, which is 16, and 16 times 3 is 48. But notice we have a -1, so it's going to be negative 48x squared. On the next term, we have 3 times 4, which is 12, and then -1 squared. So that's going to be positive. So positive 12x. And our last term is -1 to the third power, which is going to be -1. Okay, so the signs just kind of fall into place based on that -1 when you take the powers of that. On the next two, I'll show you a couple more shortcuts.